Hi, my name's Owen Wade. I'm from Working Mobile. I just wanted to tell you about the car desk and why I'm so excited about the car desk in now being in Australia, and just take you back to a little bit of what happened before the car desk started in Australia, and how it led me to bringing it here into Australia. So about 10 years ago, I was a project manager in construction. Like I've done that for most of my adult life, I suppose. Been one way or the other into construction. I'd finished uni. I'd finished university. I'd started my own business as a project manager consultant, or a consulting project manager. So I had lots of different clients and different projects on the go at once. When you have a small business, you sometimes take on smaller projects that give you a bit of variety. Well, particularly I like the variety, and it saw me going to multiple different sites, taking on a few different clients, as many as I could service at the time. I started to grow my business a little bit, and then contracted. I could grow and contract it as often as I liked. But the main thing was that I was on the road quite a bit, getting to different sites, and because I had an end-to-end delivery model for my consulting business. So I would start the project, with the client, and I would say, who had the money, the developer, and then I would, deliver it from being just a line on a piece of paper to full completion, which saw me both in an office, in a fixed office sometimes, and then also out on site. And so a lot of my days were spent on the road, going to different sites, which caused a bit of a problem for me because there's only so many hours in the day. Builders like to start early. They generally like to have site meetings around 10 o'clock, and then I go to project progress control meetings at other different times as well during the afternoons. And so it was just end-to-end meetings sometimes, and then what would happen is I'd never have any time to do the administration type of part of the job, which was always quite difficult. And one of the things, having worked from the car for quite often, I wouldn't often make it back to my my fixed office to do my work. I would I would schedule my day. I'd have like a few site meetings to go to, or the like, and then I would plan my day around that, and then try and make it back to the office at night. More often than not, I'd end up with a pile of papers on my passenger seat of my car. My laptop, my diary, everything was on the passenger seat, and it was just really uncomfortable. Like I was feeling quite disorganized, and when you're a disorganized project manager, you don't get a lot done. You're not very efficient. So I was always looking at ways to make my life easier, and to be able to be the best that I could be, and also be efficient with my time. One of the things I pride myself about, having my own business, is that I can be, across multiple things at multiple times. Some people say multitasking isn't for everyone, but or isn't efficient. I was trying my darndest to make a go of that. So I was coming up with some ideas to help me be more organised, because deep down I wasn't organised, and I was really feeling the pain points of things flying on the floor, not being at the top of my game, going into meetings feeling like a bit cluttered because I couldn't find that sheet of paper that I put, or that report, or that contract, or whatever that I'm sure I put on the front seat in the morning before I left for work or got out of the office. It really bugged me sometimes, and sometimes I just have to go into a meeting without it, and then find it later under the seat or something like that. So real problems. The other thing that was what was happening was I was always working. So I would be on the road, going to my site meetings, my other meetings, client meetings, and then I wouldn't get time to do my admin, the administration work that I needed to get done. So then I would also lose information as I was going through the day. So I'd have a meeting at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock for my site meeting, And then I'd come out of that, go to my next meeting, and then find out that at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, when I sat down in my fixed office to do all those write up all the notes that I'd taken, that I didn't have I've started to forget things. Oh, what happened in that site meeting at 10 o'clock? Like mind you, 8 hours have already expired since then. So I would end up spending like hours at the office, and I wasn't very happy. I was earning a lot of money, which is good, which is why you go into business for yourself. But I also had a family back home, that wanted to see me, and my family were young too. So I, starting my business by myself, I would try and take on as much work as I possibly could to earn more money, but then I had young kids at home, like when they're 1 or 2 years old, and I found out that when I thought about it, at one stage I think I was spending 7 hours a week with my children, 7 waking hours a week, which is just not enough. It's not what I wanted to be. It's not why I set out to be a business owner. Like I could just go and work for a council or for the government or something and earn some decent wage, but then go home every night and sort of switch off. But when you're a small business owner, or when you're a business owner, you sort of you've always got stuff to do. You're invoicing, you're planning for the next day, or you're wanting to be plan for the next job that you're going to get, or look at the next target market. So I was struggling with all this, my time management. What I realized along the way was that I was that I had a lot of time in the car where I was just not being efficient. So and getting back to being cluttered as well, and not having everything at my fingertips. So I started thinking about ways that I could improve that. I would often go into cafes on the side of the road or whatever. I'd find a cafe. I'd be driving around trying to find a cafe to sit down in, trying to find a park, and then going into the cafe and then ordering a coffee because I felt obligated. Then having a muffin or 5, or then buying a sandwich. Might be costing me $30 a day just to sit in that cafe for the 2 hours or whatever, because I just needed to catch up on some work before I went to the next meeting. So I started thinking about how I could improve this, and I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I'm always coming up with ideas. So I started like putting stuff in the front of my car, like a flat surface in the front of my car, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, but then it kept sliding onto the floor, and I was thinking, there's got to be some better way. So I was subletting a little office, or some office space in a building once, and I realized that one of the people who worked there was an industrial designer. So I met up with him. I arranged to meet him every Wednesday, and we started drawing up some plans of a car desk, and not knowing too much about developing anything really, except for my own stuff in construction. I didn't really have the foggiest idea of what went into developing a product and taking it to market. So, but I thought I knew how to do a design, or to get something designed, and then but then it just sort of seemed too difficult. I was busy doing my other stuff. I was still trying to get home at nighttime. Still, it was busy times. Young family and all that sort of stuff. So. So I ended up dropping that, but I continued my search a little bit, and then, but there was nothing in Australia that came remotely close to what I needed. I ended up finding a product in the US a little bit later that met all of the needs that I had, and so I was like. In between minds, it's over. It's American. It's I thought, okay, how can I do this? So over time, you put things to the back burner, you pick them back up again. I end up just ringing this guy one day in America. I just thought I'm just going to reach out to this guy, see what he's like, and then go from there. got on the phone with this guy. I started emailing him, asking him questions. Okay, what is this car desk? What does it do? How long you've been making it? Is it selling in the US? Not that I really thought at that point about selling them or being involved in that part of the business. I just wanted one. I just wanted to get one of these things to make my life easier. I then thought, I'm sick of talking about it. I much rather the face to face, and so I told my wife, I think I need to go and meet up with this guy and see if I can do this. So I'm not finding anything in Australia. I need to reach out a little bit further, further my search, and then also see if this guy's if I can work with him. So I jumped on a plane, went out to Michigan, found met up with this amazing guy. Who's now become a really good friend of mine, and we spoke about the desk, the car desk, and I told him about my problems. I was always in the car, and he said, "Well, we've got them for the left-hand version of the right-hand version of the car, and they drive on the different side of the road, opposite side of the road to us, so we would have to develop if I was to get one, I'd have to get one designed and then built for the Australian market. So I said, let's do it. I want to meet my need and get this done. So so he said it's going to take a couple of weeks. I'll get one done. I'll put it on a boat and or send it via air freight, and we'll get it over to you and you can check it out. So we did that. I thought it was a fantastic product. I put it in my car. I was still doing project management work back then, and I loved it. It started it revolutionized the way that I did things. Like I had a compartment. You can check them out on our website at workingmobile.com.au. What I'm talking about. It really revolutionized the way I did things. Like I had a flat surface if I wanted to write stuff down. It also had a tray that moved across in front of me, right next to the steering wheel, not in front of the steering wheel. So I wouldn't be tempted to, dare I say, drive whilst I'm doing stuff. But when I was parked on the side of the road, it was just I could put my laptop right next to the steering wheel, and just get those those couple of emails and stuff done. In between meetings, or everything was top of mind then. I could just respond straight back to clients. I could do an email. I could update a financial report. I could, if someone came back through me with a variation for something, I could just bang put it into a spreadsheet. I could send it off. I could do variations, because sometimes in construction you've got to move things along quickly. You've got to ask the client if make recommendations to clients. And if I had to wait to get back to the office another couple of hours, it could be a day. And then the client might not look at it for a couple of days. So then all of a sudden you've lost a whole week out of your off the project to make one decision. So now I was able to get the ball in the thing in train on more rapidly, and also I was more organised. Everything was in there in my desk. I also bought. They also had some bags there that I like a file tote, which you can also see on our website. Everything that I needed for the day, I would just take out of my home office at that stage, or my fixed office where I was subletting. I could put all the contracts. Okay, I've got 3 site meetings today. I'm going to put, I need the site meeting minutes for this, and this. I know we're not in we're in a paperless society, but we need a lot of paper still, unfortunately. And it just meant that I was always ready to do what I needed to do. So I thought, this is really working for me. I really want to. I think this can help other people as well. So I called my mate my mate in the US, and I said, how do I get more of these? And he said, well, if you want more of these, you have to buy a mold, and we can sort out. We can send you container loads of these things if you want. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know how many I'm going to need, but over time we did a deal, and we have now started bringing these things into Australia. We We've now sold these things to the UK, to New Zealand, to Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, like anywhere that drives on our side of the road can now buy these things through us, which is really good. And it's really promising because people are telling me, like when they've got one in their car, how much it's changed their life. And I just think it's one of the things that it does for me, is gives me more time with my family. I instead of spending 4 hours in the office, after 5 o'clock, I would now be able to get all my stuff done while I'm on the road in between meetings. Like I don't get it all done, but that's just the nature of how busy you are at the time. But that front of mind, that top of mind stuff, that knowledge retention, those reports, it can all be happening whilst I'm on the road. I don't have to go into a cafe as often. Not good for the cafe business, but yeah, good for me because it gives me more time. It gives me more freedom. It means that I'm not going back to a fixed office, across town, to get those, to get that email done or taking it home with me. Because nothing's worse than really having to take work home with you of an evening, and then your kids are coming up to you wanting to show you stuff for the day, and you're like, hang on a sec, I've just want to get this email done. That's not quality. That's not a quality life, and that's not a work-life balance of what I signed up for, and why I challenge myself to do things differently and to be better, to be a better dad, and to be a better project manager, or to be better an entrepreneur. I want to use my time more effectively. So I just wanted to tell you about that and how we started bringing these things to Australia, and how excited I am about it, because using just for me and for the customers that I've sold it to so far, we've really made a difference. And and being organised in your car and having your car as an office, as so many people in Australia and everywhere else does. There's millions of people who are just driving around, appointment after appointment after appointment, trying to make 20 sales calls a week. Or what would you do if you could make 25 sales calls a week? What does that mean to you in terms of how much you could sell, or how much you could, more impact you could have on what you do. So, if you want to learn more, we've got an online store at workingmobile.com.au. Check us out. Have a look. We've got a couple of videos there. We're trying to learn more about people's industries as well, and see how people use their vehicle more to and to make it more comfortable for their working day. But anyway, that's all from me from this time. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you again, and also showing you more about what we do. So thanks for listening again, and we'll catch you another time.